So we have another bunch of FOIA documents that have come out this week, most of which are kind of boring. You have witness lists that have been basically redacted so that the only witnesses that we can see are those who are in law enforcement. So there's not really much to see there with them. There's also a bunch of chain of evidence documents, which are also kind of boring. You'd be better off just sitting and staring at the wall and you might have more fun. So I've had a flick through what we have received this time with the FOIA request, and I think most of them are just kind of boring. I think really the only one that's worth looking at is this particular one that has the letter to Stephan about his real estate licence and the many, many emails between him and his parents. I can't put it onto Patreon just yet because the letter to Stephan about his real estate licence contains their family's address. So I need to redact that and also just double check that I'm not putting anything else out with that is basically breaching people's confidentiality. So we have 41 pages of emails between Stephan and his parents. Now, a lot of them are just the same old, I want these books, I want this money for Commissary, I want these things for my Commissary, so I need more money, I'm running out of money, I want more money, all that sort of stuff. But in between there's a few interesting bits and pieces. Of course, we get Deb and Chris sharing their opinions of YouTubers, which is always a delight. And is also kind of interesting given that we have a YouTuber claiming to be in communication with Deb. If that is the case, Deb has clearly changed her mind about YouTubers. I have watermarked these, but that said, if you're a YouTube creator and you are after a copy of this one document and don't want to wait for the FOIA request, feel free to email me and I will bump it across to you as soon as I get a chance to do so. Now, with that said, let's jump in and start taking a look at these emails. Okay, so starting with the 3rd of July 2024. Hey, I just got the tablet and will have it until 4:45 p.m. I received some books today. Lost World, Ready Player One, Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the Origami book. Thank you very much for sending those, and please include Jurassic Park among the next batch you send. Oh my gosh, the guy is just... he's such a moocher. As you may have seen in my previous video, it appears that Chris hasn't been working the entire time that Stephan's been incarcerated. So these guys are bleeding funds, and he's got no qualms about just asking for more. So slight backtrack. Please include Jurassic Park among the next batch you send, since it comes before The Lost World and I would like to read them in order. I received my Commissary order yesterday. I had edited it to reduce the amount of copies and get a bag of root beer barrels with it. I saw that you hadn't been able to add any more funds, so I kept it small. So now the guilt. This guy is pathetic. He really is. It just makes me so angry the way he's grifting off them. The account is likely around -$3 today. Hint, hint, give me more money. Not, thank you, I am so incredibly grateful for the fact that you are probably going without things yourselves in order to provide me with my every wish. I am currently rereading The Hobbit for a proper lead up to The Lord of the Rings, and can't wait to get to the Silmarillion as well. It takes place before The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Between you and me, I haven't read that one. I've heard it was a little bit boring. I may be wrong, let me know. How are things at the Poodle Palace? How are the puppies? And how are you and Mum doing? Anything new or exciting? Things are basically the same here, 4 walls and a metal rack. I've been busy making different origami patterns from the Easy book, and look forward to breaking into this new book, which has some very interesting designs. So he's learned how to make paper hats. Yay for Stephan. I should probably pre-warn you if you haven't already figured it out. You're going to get a bit of snark while I'm reading through these, because I'm not a fan of Stephan or his parents. Okie dokie, and here's the response from the Bank of Dad. Well, crap. Sorry about adding funds. Added $50. How about once in a while just going, well, crap, I haven't got the money today, so tough luck. Also, I was out on appointments, so I guess I missed your window. Puppies are fine. They're sort of walking, noisier, and eyes are beginning to open. It won't be too long where they will assemble a choir and the singing begins. Joy. I've been busy acclimating to the new company. That's interesting. I wonder if that's got something to do with the reason for him having that new application in on his license. Everything remains the same except displaying a different banner. The CRM is the same, but back-end systems are totally different. There are no brick and mortar buildings. It is all virtual, which is cool. Mum helped me design my avatar. Oh my gosh, I can just picture a Chris avatar. The virtual world is deep in resources, expert care, and everything in between. They also use Workplace, which is Facebook for businesses. Lots of groups with tons of camaraderie among the ranks. Everyone is so helpful. While things are slow, I using the time to immerse myself in the CRM platform, since it is where 100% of the marketing is initiated, managed and maintained. Everything is handled through the system, most of it automated. You live in the system throughout the day, beginning first thing in the AM and before you go to bed. I have several marketing campaigns scheduled to start next week and want to be prepared to manage leads effectively. I'll be using ISAs, Inside Sales Associates, to manage inbound leads. They call the lead. Then transfer the warm qualified lead off to me live. Okay, with the volume of leads that are projected and me out in the field, I won't have time to manage inbound leads that require immediate phone contact within minutes when received. This will be a first for me to turn this part of the process over. I have to trust the process. Okay, so it's all going automated. I wouldn't be trusting the process, especially not in something like real estate, where it is so heavily reliant on building that personal relationship. I informed Mum about Jurassic Park. And then you have a discussion about somebody's son being in hospital, which we don't really need to read. Okay, and the next message from Stephan. I love how you get these bits at the top of the messages with words they've flagged, and it's flagged die. Hey, just got the tablet back. It's only at half battery, so it will die sooner, I'm sure. I received the Howling Trilogy book today. That will be interesting, and I am near the end of the first book of Lord of the Rings. Wow, that was pretty quick reading. He must have been sitting there 24/7. Congo is still missing in action, and I got a notice a few days ago of a package that was returned to sender because it apparently contains a cell phone holder of some kind. I wonder if Congo might have also been in that package too. I also got notification from the DBPR saying that I'm essentially going to lose my licence for dishonest dealing, having to do with the charges against me. I guess they don't care to differentiate between charges and convictions. Well, no, it's from what I gather, from what I've read in terms of the rules, it comes down to you not reporting that you have these charges against you. But honestly, I mean, the guy's face was all over the news. The whole country knows who he is. So they pretty much wouldn't want him having a licence anyway. And he's not getting out, so why does it matter? As of now, the licence is on involuntary suspension, I think. I don't remember the letter too well. I met with another attorney today. I guess I'll be meeting more as time goes on. But we talked a bit and I left feeling a bit more hopeful. So that's something. And I can only pray that my hope is well placed. On that note, if you caught my video that I did the other day about the absence of a somewhat basic notice of appearance from Stephan's lawyers, in amongst all this stuff that I received was a copy of the notice of appearance from Alicia, I think Smith, dated the 2nd of June. So the notice of appearance has been received, it just somehow hasn't been put up on the system. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a video where I think it is titled, "Has Stephan's Lawyers Dropped the Ball?" But it shows you that they're really not on top of things. Hang in there for me, we might get through this still. None of the inmates got their commissary deliveries this past Friday. I'm not even sure if the orders were charged or not, since I haven't had a chance to check. I ordered a buttload of coffees and a couple of packs of root beer candy, so I'm hoping it gets delivered tomorrow instead, but we'll see. I may have to make another order, if not, so fingers crossed that it was only a delay. I was offered rec time today, meaning time outside in the yard, but I'd been up all night and was too tired to go. So hopefully they ask again soon, so I can finally feel the sun and wind on my skin and breathe fresh air for the first time in over 4 months. Oh, diddums. Oh my gosh, this guy is pathetic. You know what? If you didn't sleep and you were tired, a bit of fresh air outside might have done you a bit of good. That's exciting news about the new company. I'm glad to hear things are picking up for you. You must be knee-deep in noisy, happy puppies by now, and I'm wishing I was there. I love you both. Hugs and kisses right back soon. Yo, Stephan. Oh my gosh. Good to hear from you. Why are there such long breaks between hearing from you? I'll report to Mum your deliveries and chase down Congo. Do you get mail? How did you learn about DBPR? So I told you I'm totally dyslexic when it comes to anything with acronyms. Have the attorneys given you the POA to sign? Puppies are 3 weeks old, up and walk, and have mock battles with loads of growers. Lol. Are you able to have visitors yet? Any news about the trial? The pre-trial meeting is Wednesday. What are you hearing? Love, hugs, and kisses from both of us. I've noticed that there are times when Chris seems to suddenly become quite terse and brief with Stephan. And I wonder if it's because he's hemorrhaging money, for starters, or whether he just gets sick of Stephan and wishes that Stephan would just go away. Hey, yes, I can get mail. That was how I learned of DBPR. Pre-trial is still Wednesday, but I won't go to it myself, just my attorneys. Because you're just too good, aren't you, Stephan? It's like someone going, oh, there's free tastings down at the mall, but I won't go. I mean, how disrespectful is this guy? He makes me sick. Everything about him is just despicable. I no longer have any restrictions that I'm aware, just on protective custody. Shame about that. I think visits may be done through a video screen though. I don't know if they do face to face, but I can find out. Sorry for the gaps in communication. Basically, I am at the mercy of the availability of devices and the whims of the guards. Some are more willing to accommodate or do any extra work than others, and it doesn't do well to nag or pester them over it. Oh my god, I can see how that would go too. I wish I could hear the goos and little barks. That would make my day. How are you and Mum holding up? In other words, Stephan's been doing the Stephan whining, I'm willing to bet, with the guards. And most of them are probably like, oh, shut up. We don't want to hear you whining. From Mum. Just missed the last message I sent. Well, that answers the question of where my cell phone stand went. Because I didn't get it. Good old Amazon wanting to box stuff together. I have the opposite problem when I order stuff from Amazon. Seems that everything arrives in separate boxes. Apparently they didn't get that the address on the holder was different. Here's a tip. Next time, do it as 2 separate orders. It said Congo was shipped, so I'm guessing that's what happened. I will resend it. I hope this new attorney is a little more willing to listen and help. Oh dear. Sorry. I'm just thinking, yeah, clearly whoever he had previously probably just couldn't be bothered putting up with his BS. I think there was a male attorney listed in some of the early filings, and it's a name that wasn't familiar to me. So maybe Stephan just likes to have the female attorneys so he can try and flirt with them and try and get them to do things the way he wants them to. We do stand with you as our son. That won't change regardless. We still haven't heard anything about the POA or anything. They didn't say if they finally got the information from Sarasota Memorial. Stuff is very one way with them. If it is for them, it's urgent. If it is something for us, meh. Yeah, well, they're not working for you, are they, Deborah? Money is tight, but we're muddling through. Borrowing where we can until September. Hopefully things will turn the corner by then and the puppies will have been picked up and paid for. So fingers crossed for all good things for us all. Yeah, well, when you've got a puppy farm, I guess you've always got income coming in. Your dad can't seem to stop losing weight. He's smaller than when he was in high school. I have 25 pounds to get to Wonderland. Oh, God, that's just sickening. I've lost 55 pounds and all numbers health-wise are fabulous. I'm cutting back on insulin. I look forward to the day I don't need it anymore. I don't think weight actually is the issue when it comes to insulin. I think once you're on insulin, don't you have to stay on it? Losing weight isn't going to allow someone to go off insulin. That's my thoughts anyway. Ask the people who know, because I don't know if they let us send pictures of the puppies, ask and see. They're adorable, mock fighting today and walking like drunk sailors, but by next week they'll be running and eating something other than Mama's milk. Then, the next week, the big reveal. The first bath and shave. Really? They're puppies? I'm sorry, but I don't get that. Let them be puppies. It always feels like Christmas and I'm unwrapping gorgeous packages. Not like it is porn or anything. What? Just puppies. I don't understand that. We'll be starting the puppy culture startle reflex training with them tomorrow. Really? Look, my sister has trained service dogs. And you get the pup when the pup is about 8 to 10 weeks old. And the only training you are doing with that pup at that age is basically toilet training and training to sit. And of course working on trying to get it to be a little bit calmer so that it doesn't eat your hand. Big hug and kiss. Be strong. Don't worry about DBPR. You never wanted to be with them anyway, so no big deal. Can you swap books with other inmates temporarily to get some diversity in reading? Probably not. No, you can't. Because you could put anything inside those books. I don't think they like you guys fraternising much. I think they would be quite happy for Stephan to fraternise. It's just that they would get into trouble when something happened to him. Exercise. Use deep breathing techniques. Centre yourself. This is a longer road than we thought it would be. You thought he was going to be let out? At this point in time, clearly she is still believing that Stephan is innocent and that this little mix-up is going to be fixed. No, I pray for you every night and think of you every day several times. It is so surreal that you are not here. You have mail forwarded to you at jail? Why not send it to the house? For starters, probably he doesn't want his parents reading his personal mail. Secondly, I would imagine that the real estate stuff was sent directly to the jail because they knew that's where he was. Any indication of the trial is being pushed off? How's your commissary balance? Let me know about visitations. Physical visitations. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just had visions of scary ghouls visiting him in his cell and thought, yep, they would be good visitations for Stephan. I may try to pop over. From Mum again. How did DBPR know where you are? Wow, they make the CIA and the FBI look weak. Have you not watched the news at all, Deborah Stearns? Like, seriously? Lol. I have a great video of the mock fighting. Took it this morning. I think there is a fee for a video or maybe even pictures. Check for us. If it is allowed, we will send it right away. I got Congo sent out and I think Moby Dick. Could be Jaws in any case. Congo is on its third try to get to you. Maybe it will be the charm. Maybe you just don't bother sending him that book. And then there's a bunch of stuff about people that we know nothing about and probably don't really need to know anything about. Hey, I can receive photos as long as they are no larger than 4 inches by 6 inches. I'll try to find out more about how visits work. If my last order from Commissary was charged, aside from not being delivered, then I should be quite low in balance now. So add whatever you can. Oh, what a horrible grifter. I will see tomorrow if my missing order will be delivered. I went heavy on the coffee because I was tired of running out so quickly. I only ordered 2 packs of root beer candy and sunk the rest into 40 plus coffees. But I still need some saltines and whatnot for those times when my stomach growls at night, which is every night. Oh, jeez, suck it up, princess. You got yourself in there. Learn to cope. Honestly, he is just trying so hard to manipulate them and get as much money out of them as possible. I mean, I don't like them, and I honestly think, it's their own fault that he is taking advantage of them like this. But I still hate seeing someone do this kind of thing, no matter what the circumstances are, because it's pure manipulation, it's pure grifting. I hope my last order went through, but if not, then I will take whatever money is left, and whatever you add to it, and try to spread it around as evenly as I can to meet my needs, and still go as heavy as I can on the hot coffee. Someone give this guy a violin, honestly. The coffee keeps me happiest and is comforting in a way, so I like to get large supplies of it when I can, and try to limit myself to 2 per day. Though some days I indulge a bit more, especially when I feel particularly low in spirit. Oh, poor little Diddum Stephens. He is so pathetic and he makes me so angry. Yeah, I can't stand Deb and Chris. Yeah, they deserve him grifting off them because they've enabled him their whole life, but at the same time, what a jerk. But I still need things to munch on between meals too, so it's always a balancing act. The copies are 85 cents each, and I try to get them in multiples of 5 and 10 when possible. This last order that went undelivered should have contained 48 coffees, because I got the 2 candies and then put the coffee quantity to the maximum that budget would allow. I really hope it shows up tomorrow, or I will have to make a new order and the daily fee will have chipped away at the balance quite a bit. So please do add more if possible. All he does in these emails is ask for more money. He carries on about all these things that he needs. He's starving. He needs his coffee because otherwise he's just so depressed. And he just lays it on thick and then asks for money. And they just hand it over. Yeah, the DBPR is a state agency, so I guess they have the inside scoop on this stuff. Oh my gosh, are these people really that dumb? No word on the POA, but if you're correct in your assessment that anything for my attorneys is quite urgent, you have to remember that these are the people tasked with keeping me alive, and if at all possible, restoring my freedom. Oh my God, the drama. I don't think they're really worried about keeping you alive. They're just doing their job. And as for restoring your freedom, Stephan, you got 2 chances. Buckley's and none. So it is best to treat it with that sort of importance. In other words, he's trivialising their needs and saying, don't bother my attorneys because they've got better things to do than deal with you. What a jerk. He's patronising towards them. And besides, they are defence attorneys and not civil attorneys, so they don't do anything that falls outside their scope. And I'm not the only case they have. They deal with a huge caseload and are always busy. In other words, he's probably making huge demands on them, and they probably told him this directly. But at the same time, he is being patronising towards his parents. He's basically saying their needs aren't important and that they are making a nuisance of themselves, and he's talking to them like they are little children. I wouldn't be surprised also, given that I think this is the paperwork for his car, where they wanted him to sign over not just for the car but the whole power of attorney stuff. So, any of his affairs, they wanted that signed over to them to deal with outside of prison. And I'm willing to bet that he's probably got the forms and deliberately not filling them in because he doesn't want to lose control of those things, and he still believes that he's going to get free. I wonder if legally they can just go to the court and get power of attorney. This guy makes me sick. They do have my interests in mind, but those duties and interests begin and end inside the courtroom defending me. And that's just the way it is. So try not to get too put out by it. Oh my god. I think they should just go settle match to his car and claim the insurance. I have a large team working on my case, and they're among the best and the fiercest that the Public Defender's Office has to offer. We've seen the motions they've filed, and if that is the best and the fiercest that the Public Defender's Office has to offer, that is really disturbing. And you don't get to that level in the PD unless you're good at what you do. Yes, apparently you do get to that level in the PD without being particularly good at it. Enjoy it and have vast experience with it, especially with a case this big. They don't just give it to some greenhorn fresh from passing the bar like they would with a smaller case, because Stephan thinks he's so very important. If you've watched any of the videos that I've done where I've been reading through motions that have been filed by Stearns' defence team, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, because these twits can't even get their case law right. They don't just give it to some greenhorn fresh from passing the bar like they would with a smaller case. Well, I think some greenhorn fresh from passing the bar might do a better job than your lawyers, Stephan. Keep working with the social workers. They are more or less your go-between or interface with the attorneys. And try to be patient. This truly is a longer road than we imagined, and we may only be coming close to a quarter of the way through it. Quarter of the way through. Oh my god, this guy has got tickets on himself if he honestly thinks that he's getting out. Unreal. So hang in there, both of you. If by the grace of God I do find my way out of this mess, I want you both in good health so I can see you and sit down to a long overdue family meal together and grift off you some more. This is his usual pattern. He asks them for stuff, or demands stuff I should say, and then he does this major suck up bit in between. Oh, I care so much about you guys, I want to make sure that you're healthy, I want to make sure you're well. But then he also speaks to them like they're imbeciles. Tell Dad not to lose too much more weight, or he'll slip through a crack in the floor and be lost forever. Whatever, I wish you would slip through a crack in the floor, Stephan. And I want you both around still for some years to come, because I need you to pay my commissary for me. So do your best. And whatever. I look forward to hearing back soon. Hugs and kisses. Love you both. XOXOXOXO. he, are they really that stupid? Do they not see through his efforts to manipulate them? That's all this is. This guy is a master manipulator. He gets what he wants by basically manipulating people, massaging their egos, telling them how much he cares about them. All this BS. But at the end of the day, all he cares about is Stephan. From Mum, are we talking regular mail picture or on the tablet? We will try our best to be here for you as long as God allows. Sent $50. He is just milking his parents. 2026? Okay, I'm trying not to lose any more weight. Last weigh in was 167. 2 pounds from losing 70 pounds. I wanted 175. I keep trying to put a couple of pounds back on, but I don't have much of an appetite. It's an interesting battle. Let me know about the visits. I'll try to get in to see you. Hey, Congo arrived and Jurassic Park arrived. Also, do either of you know Elisa Houston from Larkhall OT? And if anyone can figure out what OT is an abbreviation for, do let me know. The only listing I could find on the internet for Elisa Houston in relation to Larkhall is some sort of community garden. I received a contact connection request from this person and want to see if it's anyone we know. I don't think I know them, and I'm going to ignore it if you don't know them either. Hey Stephan, good to hear the book's arrived. No, we don't know her, ignore the request. By the way, we heard on the local news your trial has been pushed off to October. The report went on to say the State Attorney's Office released all our email communications with redactions, probably something and something. The interesting report was the comment about a second vehicle visiting the site in St Cloud, taking the same route as the Lincoln. A white Nissan, I assume it was Jen's car. The same car parked at the hotel where I left you at 2:20 a.m, I thought. That means the car left shortly after the check-in. The car left Kissimmee at 3:18 a.m. Wednesday morning, stayed in the St Cloud area 30 minutes, and then returned to Kissimmee at 3:48 a.m. Care to comment? What I don't understand is how Jen is avoiding all of this. Jen is clearly involved. Why are the police not pursuing this? A blind person can see it. Okay, well, first of all, Chris has got his days muddled up. We know the Nissan actually went the night before they were staying at the hotel, and we know now that, in fact, it was Stephan driving the Nissan, not Jen. So, nice one, Chris, but hopefully by now you've realised that's just more evidence of Stephan's guilt. There will be a lot of people trying to get you to accept them on the text app. All they want is to try to get into your head and get you to give them an exclusive tidbit that they can profit by on YouTube or whatever these pathetic wannabe investigators are using for their platforms. That sounds kind of familiar to me. The state just encourages them by giving them access to the tablet conversations and phone calls. Nothing is private, and they are all idiots who think they are the best at getting at people. What I do know is that Jen and the rest of the crew are also into this up to their hairlines. Well, no, you don't know that. You have absolutely no evidence of that. So, pretty serious allegations to make, particularly on something like this that is going to become public information. The whole cackling crowd of them. They are willing to throw you to the wolves to keep their reputations intact. Jen sits in the psych ward of some hospital, pretending to be nuts while she has clean sheets, a private bathroom TV, visitors, decent food, and where are you? Well, there is absolutely no proof whatsoever that Jen actually was in a psych ward. So that is pure speculation. And can we just acknowledge that he has clean sheets if he wants. He has a private bathroom because he's in a cell in his own. He's not getting out of that. He has TV and he has fairly decent food, particularly given that his parents are sending themselves bankrupt, giving him extra money for his commissary. But all these things that are being said here, we need to recognise that they are nothing but allegations. There is no proof of this whatsoever. Obviously, Jen's family has had no communication with the Stearns family. There is no way that Deb Stearns or Chris Stearns would have the faintest clue of Jen being in a mental ward. Not only that, we have on record with the interview that Chris Stearns did in June or July with detectives, him asking them if Jen was in a psych ward, meaning he didn't even know. Okay, you did not kill Madeline. I think it was an accident, but Jen did. Yeah, right. Keep drinking that Kool-Aid. All the evidence points to Stephan being the one who did it, not Jen. I do believe she has guilty knowledge. I do believe that she played a part by sending Maddie upstairs to sleep with Stephan and checking out on her regular medications. But no, these are pretty full-on allegations. Again, allegations that could lead to a lawsuit. This to me reads like a parent trying to offer up an alternate story for their son to use to say, hey, here's what you can say to get out of this. Blame it all on her. It'll be your word against hers. What they don't realise is that detectives are a bit smarter than that. They have forensics, they have CCTV, they have all these things that will demonstrate quite clearly that it was Stephan. You found her body and you were coerced into moving it. Then the whole charade about the abduction. I know Jen wearing Maddie's clothes was the one in the church picture. No, nobody in the church picture was connected with this case. The CCTV footage from the church shows a dark coloured car, not the Lincoln, dropping someone off at the church. This is the individual that was caught on camera. I know them both too well not to recognise the differences. Well, when did you see the church picture? Because that actually wasn't released. I think there was a really vague bit of footage that came out via FOIA a few months ago. But you would have to really squint. So this is a ridiculous thing for him or her to say. It doesn't say who it is. I'm thinking by the sound of it, it's probably Deb, though. Start taking positive steps to help yourself. You don't owe them your life, Stephan. They don't deserve that kind of blind loyalty. Love, understanding, prayers, a calm place in the storm. Definitely Deb. saying that last thing on the end. So she's really trying to push for him to throw Jen in and to tell his lawyers that it was Jen. She's in a complete state of denial here. And honestly, when I watched the interview that they did in September last year with Hidden True Crime, I think she was still in a state of denial. I think Chris was the one who was basically saying, yeah, we recognise that he's 100% responsible. And you could tell from her body language and especially her facial gestures that she disagreed with him, but she wasn't going to speak out. I just want to reread one section of this because I have questions. My questions are in relation to, is Deb Stearns really communicating with another YouTube creator? Especially a YouTube creator who would fall into the category of what she's describing here. All they want is to try to get into your head and get you to give them an exclusive tidbit that they can profit by on YouTube, or whatever these pathetic wannabe investigators are using for their platforms. The state just encourages them by giving them access to the tablet conversations and phone calls. Nothing is private, and they are all idiots who think they are the best at getting at people. Let's move on to the next letter. Now, you will note that whenever he is questioned about anything in relation to his involvement in the case, as opposed to Jen's involvement, he dances away from it. Here we go again. Hey, I can't comment on any specific details regarding the case, of course, so I have to remain somewhat tight-lipped in that regard. I know you have questions, and I do want to answer them. I feel you deserve the answers, but it's just not a good idea until the trial process is further along, and my lawyers would be upset with me because those statements would be inadmissible and could be potentially spun in a way that hurts me. Psst. And I know you don't want that any more than I do. Do you mean the state attorney is releasing these text messages from this app? How are things at home right now? How is work? How are the puppies? He essentially here is again admitting some level of guilt. It's just not a good idea until the trial process is further along. My lawyers would be upset with me because those statements would be admissible and could be potentially spun in a way that hurts me. Yeah. Only if it is something that is showing your guilt, as with several of the phone calls that we've listened to. This makes me so mad reading these messages. Yes, the state attorney's office released them. I know you cannot comment. The point is, Jen's the person who's responsible for Madeline's death. She was certainly present when the body was removed. Well, then that's two different things, isn't it? She's the person who dressed like Maddie at the church. No, she's not. How can she be allowed to remain free? Why hasn't Jen been arrested, Mr. State Attorney? Well, first of all, if Jen is arrested, it will not be for the crimes that Stephan is charged with, because that's on him. If Jen is arrested, it will be as accessory or for hindering an investigation. She will not be facing the charges that Stephan is facing because he's the one who did it. Why aren't you pursuing something? Here's the thing, Stephan, your mother and I, okay, this is Chris saying it, were blindsided by all of this. You went to kiss me for a birthday. I wish I was aware of the TV interview. Everyone saw through Jen. including me after seeing it days later after your arrest. Yeah, but you didn't see through Stephan because he was worse than Jen. Honestly, you're a fool if you could not see the act that your son was putting on in those interviews. If I saw that interview, I would have called you immediately seeking the truth, not the BS you idiots conjured up. I say idiots because Jen and whoever was part of the conspiracy formed to hide Maddie's death was stupid. Chris, I hope by now you've realised that it was purely Jen and Stephan. Nobody else. And who was responsible for Maddie's death? Stephan. Stephan and only Stephan. Yes, Jen's actions also led to it, but she wasn't the one who did the actual deed. I do believe that she helped him with the story for covering up afterwards, based on so many things that she said in her interviews. But that doesn't absolve Stephan of any guilt. He is still front and centre in this. You and certainly Jen fooled no one. Jen is part of this and we believe the person responsible for Maddie's death. Why does she remain free? Things remain status quo at home. Work is getting busier, lots going on and the puppies are fat. They're 3 weeks old. How's the balance? It really ticks me off how delusional this pair is, him and Deb. Just the whole... couldn't see through Stephan. I honestly thought that Chris was a bit more intelligent than that, which makes me think that this email is more about him trying to word Stephan up. Obviously, he can't say, this is what you should tell your lawyers. So instead, he's saying, this is what happened. The wording of it definitely says to me that he's coaching Stephan here. He's not saying, this is what I believe. He's saying, this is what happened. To me, it reads definitely as someone who is trying to coach their son to say, you need to tell your lawyers this will get you off. And honestly, as much as it bugs me that Stephan is grifting off them and taking advantage of them and basically spending all their money for them, you can see Chris enables this. You know, straight up, we've got how's the balance? You don't hear them saying once, you need to budget. They don't put their foot down at all and say, you know, we're not this endless source of money. They just allow it. So even though he ticks me off because of how readily he takes advantage of them, at the same time, they're not doing anything to help themselves. Hey, glad to hear the puppies are well and you are staying busy. The balance could use some topping up as well, please. What's this about a church picture? And abduction? Is there new information being released? I haven't heard about this. Also, the tablet system turns off at 10 p.m, so that's my cut-off here. Now, Stephan knows full well about the video from the church, so I don't know why he's asking about that. And I didn't read anything there that said about abduction. I think here he is trying to cue Chris for some more tips. But as for the church picture, to the best of my memory, I cannot remember anything being released from that image from the church. And, I mean, really, at the end of the day, we know it wasn't Jen or Maddie, and we've heard in the various interviews and stuff that it was grainy and you couldn't even really identify anything in that photo. Not photo, footage. Very brief. A video of someone appearing to be Maddie the day she was dropped off. Abduction? That's what you thought happened to her. Okay, I'll add funds. Ugh. I see, okay. I never saw the church picture. I think the system will cut off soon, so this may be the last I send tonight. I love you both very much. Suck, suck, suck. Be patient, stay sane, and keep praying that we can all get through this. I will hold on to hope that I will see you both again, and that is the goal. Hugs and kisses to you both. Blah. I think aside from the manipulation that's going on here with Stephan, we have to acknowledge here too that Chris and Deb are the only people in Stephan's world who actually have any sympathy towards him. The only people who are nice to him, I would imagine. I mean, the guards have to do their jobs and they probably have to be polite and everything, but it's not the same as having someone on your team, essentially. Be interesting when the later emails come out after Chris and Deb have accepted the fact that their son's actually not the choir boy that they thought he was. And then just a little bit of nausea for you. Okay, love you too. You're in our prayers and thoughts. I added funds. Of course you did. Okay. Hey, just got the tablet. Wanted to check in and see how you both are doing. How are the puppies? Any new updates? I got the POA and signed it. Also, I think Mum mentioned she had sent more books last time we chatted, but nothing has arrived, FYI. I also wanted to add a title to the list, Ready Player 2. Well, clearly that's a sequel to Ready Player 1. But he's going to state that anyway, just in case they are really, really stupid. A sequel to Ready Player 1. Duh. I was able to order a good amount of coffee on Commissary, and they even had the butterscotch candies in stock, so I got a bunch of those and some more root beer candies. You know, if I was Chris and Deb, I would be saying, how about instead of filling up on sugar, you buy something more substantial so that you're not continually complaining about being hungry. The butterscotch is very good and a nice change. I've been feeling anxious lately, and every once in a while I'll wake up from sleep and feel a sudden panic when I realise I'm still here in this place. And guess what? You're going to be there for a long time, Stephan. I'm trying to be patient. October is still a ways off, and then the real action starts and things will begin to pick up a little more speed. Yeah, no, things are still going slow. So, sorry to disappoint you, dude. You're going to be sitting there cooling your heels for a very long time. And we will see how the situation develops. Is he really that delusional? I guess he probably is, because they spent his whole life enabling him. He's never had to face consequences for his actions before. So it sounds like he still believes that he's just going to walk out of there a free man, and they're going to go, okay, Stephan, yeah, we understand. You didn't mean to do it, so let's just forget about the whole thing, shall we? You have a birthday coming up soon. What age will you be after this one? And for that matter, what age is Mum now? I can't believe I've managed to lose track of this stuff over the last few years, but I have. Yeah, well, rugs will do that to you. Write back as soon as you're able. TTYL and it something 3. If anyone's got any idea what that means, please let me know. Hey Stephan, good to hear from you. I think it's been more than a week since we last communicated. Since we last wrote. The State Attorney's Office released investigative reports to the media along with all of our communications from the beginning until early July. The news channels published their own stories regarding the release of the documents and commentary as well. One of the investigators' reports commented about a second vehicle, a white Nissan, visiting the site where Maddie's body was discovered early Wednesday morning. They showed the time not long after I said goodnight to you. I swear this guy has dementia. Earlier, around 3:30ish. Interesting. You mentioned this in another email previously, Chris. The puppies are doing well. They're just hitting a month old. They're very social, very affectionate, and all love the attention. I think they're just about 3 pounds now. The old man is hitting 73. Your mother is 72. Nothing special planned for my birthday, because they can't afford to do anything special for either of their birthdays because all their money is going to you, Stephan. I'll actually be away for most of the day, but back in the evening if there's any events, which I don't think there will be. Translation: I would like it if Deb would organise something special for my birthday, but I doubt that she will. Thanks for the update on the books. We'll put the order in. I'll check with your mum if there's anything ordered and in transit. Yes, I was aware you had signed the POA, as I was in the lobby waiting for the document to be returned. In other words, they had to take it to the jail to get him to sign it, because either his lawyers weren't handing it over or he was probably sitting on it and not actually doing anything with it. Too bad we weren't able to visit while I was there, but I did get a sense of what things were like even from the lobby perspective. October is not that far off. We're anxious for more information. I'll add funds to the Commissary account for you. TTFN. What does that mean? Love, Dad. Please tell me it's not ta-ta for now, because that would just make me vomit. Hey, well, I'll try to send wishes on the day, but in case I can't, happy birthday. I wish you many more. Of course he does, because he doesn't want the money to dry out. Glad to hear the puppies are doing well. I found out more about the visits. There are absolutely no in-person visits. I confirmed that it's all handled through video on the same rolling back kiosk I used to order Commissary. Guess that's going to make it a lot easier in terms of security and stuff like that. That Lisa Houston from Larkhall, OT, tried to connect again the day after I declined her. Where is Larkhall OT anyway? I declined again, but the persistence is somewhat perplexing. I'm curious what the gist of the news commentary was. Write back soon and give my love to Mum. Of course he's curious, not just because he's a narcissist, but he's probably really nervous at this point in time about his parents finding out a bit more truthful information. I think he was at this point in time dreading when his parents finally realised what a horrible monster he truly is. Now, presumably he is talking about Jen here, and I don't know if we've missed a bit of communication, something that hasn't been shared, or if this is a continuation from a phone conversation. Well, I'm sure they're talking to her in order to get as much information about me as they can. Anything and everything that they can use or twist around to paint me in an unsavoury way. Dude, you paint yourself in an unsavoury way. Nobody needs to talk to Jen because there is so much information out there that makes you look exactly what you are, that anything Jen could add would probably be anticlimactic. In the same way the news tries to make something of nothing, the prosecutors will take any little thing and try and use it against you. Dude, you're just so clueless. He is going to be protesting. Even after he's been convicted, he's going to be protesting to his parents that the prosecutors had it in for him. That none of us was actually anything that he did, and that it was all about corruption, and the prosecutors had it in for him, and it was destined to be a failure right from the get-go. He will probably also, after he is convicted, turn on his own defence team and turn around and say how hopeless they were. So they are likely trying to get my whole history from her, any argument we've ever had, things like that, and who knows what else. Okay, so he's talking about the prosecution, I think. You will likely have more answers when this process is further along, but for now, yes, it's better to leave many of them unanswered, as even giving you answers or details can and will be used against me in any way possible. Which is basically saying, if I told you the truth, you might decide not to give me Commissary anymore. You might decide that I'm not the perfect little angel child that you think I am. He is definitely nervous about them finding out more information. And also, he doesn't realise it, but he's admitting here that he's guilty. Because even giving you answers or details can and will be used against me in any way possible. Well, if you were innocent and you gave them details which were basically showing your innocence, that would not be used against you. It's the things you say that make you look even more guilty that are going to be used against you. And my attorneys have reminded me to shut up and be mindful of what we talk about, which means you guys also should not put forward your own opinions or theories or ask too many specific questions, as you may inadvertently say or ask something that could be problematic. In other words, his attorneys have probably listened to phone calls or read emails and realised that basically his parents have helped him make himself look even more guilty and have told him, dude, these are all going to be used against you in court, and it's all straight from you and your parents. You're a dickhead. So, yeah, it's kind of a bit late to be telling them at this point in time, when him and them have both said things in phone calls and shared things in emails that are kind of incriminating. Keep it general, no details. You know the drill. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it has to be for now. I don't like it any more than you guys do, but it is what it is. That is the process. And let's say that if Deb Stearns actually is buddy now with a YouTuber, I'm pretty certain that if the defence were to find out about it, they would have some words to say. Especially given that supposedly Deb is also sharing messages that come directly from Stephan. Everything we say will be scrutinised. It's best to remember that. I will continue to ask for news updates and whatnot, and that's fine because it's already public information. But otherwise, we gotta keep it fairly light and general. It's taken them how long to figure this out? But honestly, dude, no matter what is in these text messages or these emails from here on in, you have incriminated yourself so badly already that it probably doesn't even matter. How are things around the house? Here we go again. Did you ever look inside the mouse droid and find my watch? Oh my gosh, why the obsession with the watch? I'm certain it must be in there if you haven't looked inside it yet. It would have a brown strap attached to it to hang from your shoulder, and it opens up at the top. Because it's actually a collectible popcorn receptacle. Disney makes all sorts of different collectible popcorn holders that look like all sorts of things. You can look up what a mouse droid looks like and then find it in the boxes that are in my room. Or have you moved those already? This obsession with this watch is ridiculous. And like I said, I would imagine that Chris has actually already sold the watch at this point in time, hence the conversation they had on the phone, where he told Stephan, well, it's actually probably not going to be worth much. And he's probably just not telling Stephan because he knows that Stephan's just going to demand more money from them. Hi, Stephan. I read Dad's comments, so I won't repeat stuff, except we had the first stand and snack with the pups, and it was a Kodak moment. They are getting so big, and lots of kissy pups. They crave the attention. Absolutely fabulous. I'd love to have the chance to sit at the bench and watch the sun go down with you and Chris. It's always wonderful. To say I miss my son is an understatement. To say that I do not condone anything that occurred is also an understatement. I will not ever not love you, and the naysayers and wannabe YouTube investigators can think what they want, and more power to them. This is our life, not theirs, so as they say, them and the horse they rode in on. Got the book request from you, the card expired, and I forgot to update my account with the new card, so the orders were cancelled. I'm sorry, please take a minute to send me a list of what you've gotten so I'll know what to add back into an order. I'm glad they got the butterscotch candies. Would be nice if you got a chance at the sour fruit ones, or if they have peppermint or coffee. Even cinnamon would be good. Honestly, she can't help but encourage him, can she? It's just, it does my head in. Too bad they don't have coffee flavours and we aren't allowed to send any, except apparently at Christmas and on your birthday. Maybe Easter, but you have the best people there to ask about that. It would come from Amazon or a manufacturer, so please find out. Nothing that would spoil or melt, so chocolate might be out of the question when the time comes. Oh my gosh. I really hate to think how much money they are spending on this guy. They are basically giving him everything he wants and giving him treats. I really hope that when we reach the point where we're seeing communication between them after these two clowns have figured out that their son is guilty, I really hope that we see a case where basically they're not being quite so indulgent. Did you get the origami book? And if so, how are you doing with it? People don't know the person that you are without all the bad stuff. Yeah, we don't want to know the person that he is without all the bad stuff, because he is basically the scum of the earth, and anything other than that is kind of irrelevant. We didn't know that side of you, so it's hard to separate the two people living in your head. So this tells me that they are starting to come to grips with his guilt and are starting to deal with it. We know a kind, loving, affectionate, personable man who can also be stubborn and willful, but who isn't. Yeah, well, you made him that way, and he's more than that. You indulged him. You never taught him about consequences for his actions. And that's how he got where he is today. Certainly not anyone I know, lol. Dad is anxious for me to finish this up so he can send it to you, and I can get the book titles and go from there to get you stocked up again. Love you, mums. Oh dear. This does my head in reading these. To Mum. Not dear Mum. To Mum. I guess he's just differentiating between who he's writing to here, because it could be to Chris. It's good to hear from you. I got the origami book and have been working on it. There is a list of other ones on the flap of it that looks interesting. And then we have a whole heap of list of books which we probably really don't need to be reading through. He just goes through his list of books he's received, ones that he still wants, of course, because he can never have enough books. And he finishes off with, do you still have my list of other titles? So clearly she hasn't even finished going through the first list of books that he gave her, books that he wanted her to buy for him. But he's adding to the list, but also making sure that she's still got the first list so that he doesn't miss out on any of them. Some of the COs apparently think I'm a bit mysterious, as I seem to spend all day just reading and keeping to myself, lol. I bet they don't actually think he is mysterious. They probably think, this loser doesn't do anything. He doesn't get off his ass all day. All he does is sit and read. There's no mystery about that. It just proves that he is a slug. I would just like to hear one phone conversation or read one email where they turn around and say, guess what? You got yourself in this situation. Stop bitching and moaning and actually man up for a change. Ordered today. Won't tell you what was ordered. We'll keep it a surprise so you have something to look forward to. 5 are supposed to arrive Tuesday. 1 either the 29th or the 30th. Another one the 30th or the 2nd. Basically by the end of the week. Oh my gosh. Maybe if they didn't spend so much money on books, so much money on Commissary, he would have to do something other than sit on his ass and read. Like maybe showering or cleaning his cell. Thank you, and I love you too. Or I at least love your money. Both of you. Like you, I also wish we could watch the sunset at the beach together. And God willing, perhaps we still may have that chance. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen, Stephan. You are never, ever in this life going to find yourself sitting at the beach watching the sunset. I continue to hope for that sort of thing and pray for it, and I encourage you both to do the same. Try to stay positive. I will continue hoping for a chance to be reunited with my family until such time as it either happens or there is no hope left for it to ever happen. Well, it's about time you gave up hope, Stephan, because it ain't going to happen. That hope keeps me going for now. I know this process is set to take a while, and I'm not 100% certain what to expect at the moment. And while I am hopeful, I also understand that I have to temper that hope. It is entirely possible to be convicted of a crime you have not actually committed. It happens to people all the time. Note how he's not protesting his innocence here. He is just presenting a statistic. And yes, there are people who have been convicted of crimes that they've not committed. But when Stephan is convicted, it will be rightly so. No need for you to comment on that point. I'm not referring to anything specifically, just stating a general fact. Yes, because he can't protest his innocence. Because he knows he is not. Either way, the odds are not 0% for anything at this point. Time will tell. Dude, the odds are probably 1% or 0.1%. The chances of you getting out are pretty damn slim. And if they don't get you on one case, they will certainly get you on the other case. We will see soon enough what the situation will be. Just stay positive. Give the pups plenty of love for me, and give Kissy plenty of pets and praise and treats for being such a good mama dog. And of course, Stephan has to turn the topic back to himself again. If you like, I can give you some titles from my remaining wish list to place the highest priority on and choose from for future orders. In other words, make sure you're still getting me those books. Keep pumping them out as much as possible. And in case you weren't certain if it was a puppy farm, here is a response. It is Lacey. I think Stella will be bred to Lucky. Diesel sire after finishing health testing and x-rays. She's 2 now. Wish you could get a dose of puppy breath. I'll stay hopeful and positive. I hope there will be a time for a visit, even if on video. Hard to even think of leaving for 6 or 7 hours, even without puppies. Such is life with animals of any kind, but cats. They are very well built to be self-sufficient for a long day. Stay strong. Oh, I see. Well, keep your secrets then if you want to be mysterious, lol. I look forward to the surprises and appreciate all that you do. Lacey, of course. I don't know why I had a sudden brain fart. It must have been because you had mentioned Kissy. It looks like it's about time for another haircut and beard trim for me. Past time, actually. My beard looks like one of those old Woolly Willy toys where you used the magnetic pen to pull iron dust around and make hair and beard on the guy's face and pull it all on his face. I have no idea what he's talking about with that, but I don't really care. Well, the tablet system shuts off at 4:30 for shift change, so I will have to sign off for now, but I will try to get the tablet again soon. Much love and hugs to you both. And TTYL. Okay. And all these smiley or whatever face that's supposed to be. Honestly, I think this Lisa Houston actually needs to come forward and tell someone who the F she is, because right now she is just looking at like some absolute desperate person who is keen to communicate with the scummiest person in the whole world, and who really wants to do that? P.S. This Lisa Houston has just sent me another connection request. They must be really desperate for a pen pal. Talk about persistence. Anyway, TTF now FN. Oh. Hey, happy birthday. The tablet is going to die soon, but I wanted to message you and send my wishes. Okay. Oh, this is classic. This is brilliant. Hey, sorry, I just picked up this message. I've been in meetings all afternoon. Thank you for the birthday wish. Hey, your mum and I were talking the other day about our growing up as teenagers with our respective parents and how wacky it was for your mother growing up. My parents were divorced, so I didn't have the same issues. As you know, I played sports, work, kind of raised myself. I'm curious, what were your impressions growing up as a teenager with us? We hear that some people feel we are cause your crimes. Crazy, huh? What's your take on that? Well, see, Chris, the fact that you enabled him his entire life, the fact that it appears that Deb may have been paying people off to get Stephan out of trouble, these are the reasons why people believe that you are partly responsible for Stephan doing what he did to Maddie, because he never learnt consequences. He never learnt that he had to control his temper, because he always knew that Mummy and Daddy'd fix it if he did something wrong. Oh my god, we have Lisa Houston appearing. Baby B0109. Oh god, did she choose that name for herself? Hi, how you doing? Hope you don't mind me writing to you. I'm sure you could do with a friend. What is wrong with this woman? Seen your pictures online. Well, there you go. Shows you the level of education that she has. Seen your pictures online. Dear, you say, I saw your pictures online. And you look like a very attractive man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I see you like gaming. Me too. Two has a double O. Lisa. I love Pokemon Go. Oh my gosh. Is she 12? What about GTA? I love that too. Though mostly drive knocking cops down trying to get 5 stars than anything else. Lol. Okay. Do you play that? I live in the UK. I was in Florida last year. For the first time. Loved it. Would like to go again next year, just need to start saving. It's so expensive to go from here. We'll write more next time if you're interested in keeping touch. Take care, Lisa. Hug, hug. Or is it kisses? I get confused now because who uses crosses and zeros anymore anyway? Oh my god. Well, I think straight up we can tell she is one of these little fangirls who likes these kind of guys. I'm guessing we don't have a particularly high IQ. I mean, this is an adult telling him that she loves Pokemon Go and she likes to knock down cops on GTA, and I'm not really sure what game GTA is. And I'm sure someone will tell me and I'll go, oh well, duh, of course. I mean, I guess it's always possible that this is just someone pretending to be some woman who thinks he's hot because they realise that that's how to get his attention and get him to talk. But I can't believe someone would write to Stephan Stearns and tell him, seen your pictures online and you look like a very attractive man. Oh my gosh. Now, this is interesting, and this is probably something that I might come back to and dig into some more on a far deeper level. Hey, just got the tablet. Hope you had a peaceful and enjoyable birthday. In answer to your question, well, it's an interesting question and obviously a complex thing. Growing up with you both was a mixture of things. It wasn't always sunshine and rainbows, of course, but it wasn't always rain clouds either. There were plenty of good times and good things, or at least I have some good memories. But if you're asking for anything that was not a happy memory, I can give a general rundown of that, at least from my perspective, without getting too far into any great detail. My brother left pretty early for the reasons we already know, and I remember what life was like before he left in my early years. The times he would run away, etc. The fights between you and Mum too. So, sounds like it wasn't a rosy home for his brother, and that's probably why he really has nothing to do with any of them, from what we are told. The heavy-handed discipline from her, paired with the verbal and emotional aspects as well, which essentially does sound like she was emotionally abusive. And it's interesting that he said heavy-handed discipline paired with verbal and emotional aspects as well, which means, was she violent with him? While on the flip side, you seem to have a somewhat more cool and perhaps even detached demeanour. You've never seemed overly sentimental about anything. In other words, sounds like Chris really didn't give a rat's ass about Stephan, and maybe was not emotionally available. The general feeling of instability that was always present, the constant struggle, the constant moving around every couple of years, never really being able to put roots down anywhere, never having friends for very long, always having to start over somewhere new just when I was feeling settled where we were. It always felt like I was just passing through wherever I was and everyone else was just passing through my life. I never had a hometown. I don't have any best friends from childhood. It's because you're a jerk. I've never gone to any class reunions or had any reason to. I never knew anyone or stayed anywhere long enough to bother. Well, what about these people who said they were friends with him? This Chase guy who was supposedly a best friend, and actually he's the one that lived with them, wasn't he? There seemed to have been a lot of turmoil and constant upheaval throughout my growing up, which is likely why I have been a loner for the most of my life. No, you're just really immature, Stephan. You are a liar, and people tend to see through that. I never had a chance to settle in and truly establish myself until we finally moved back here when I was 18, and I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to leave the West Coast at all. Wow. Perhaps that has contributed in some way to my being so dependent on you guys for so long. But I don't know. Maybe my mind just refused to commit to settling down in Florida. But I didn't have the means or skills to get out on my own. Loser, you were 37 when you were arrested. And you couldn't find a way to get out of Florida. When I look back on my life, I do feel a great deal of disappointment and regret. Yes, you are one big disappointment and regret, Stephan. You are a loser, and it sounds like you never made any good choices in your life. I don't lay all of it on your feet, and I don't fully blame either of you either. Some of it was my own fault as well. Oh my gosh, did you hear him say that? Some of it was my own fault as well. He's admitting some fault. For not trying harder or ever committing to find my path in life. Oh, okay, so it's not about all the crap that he did. It's about he thinks he should have tried harder to be some fantastic executive or something. Not taking good advice and not just striking out on my own, come what may. I suppose I was afraid of being untethered and on my own and facing the possibility of failure. But that attitude really only guaranteed a more total and complete failure in the long run. I'm not sure what kind of effect all these things have on a person growing up, but I imagine there is some kind of effect, whatever it may be. Either way, we all have made some mistakes on our own ends, in our own ways, and of course who knows what lasting effect was caused by being run over when I was little and suffering with brain trauma. Oh, enough on that, Stephan. So he is still pretty much putting it all back onto his parents. The way they raised him, it's all their fault. And, maybe had he had the guts to strike out on his own, none of this would have happened. He never would have done because they enabled him his whole life. He would not have wanted to separate himself from them, knowing that or believing that they could get him out of any bit of trouble that he got himself into. Obviously, there were some behavioural issues that persisted long after that, so everything is now because of this accident, which is complete utter BS. And I'm sure that is another contributing factor to my development as well. I guess there isn't really any one thing to blame. We are all the sum of our experiences. There are many good memories too, and some very good times. It wasn't all rain clouds, as I said, and I always had a roof over my head and food on the table, clothes on my back. You always worked hard and tirelessly to provide for us, and you still do. I love you both very much and have always been strongly attached to my family. I am proud of you in a lot of ways, and you and Mum did the best you could. They overindulged him. They did not do the best they could. Had they done the best they could, they would have taught him to understand that there are consequences for your actions. The only ways you knew how, just like everyone else in their own respective situations. We're all just trying in our own ways to get through. Obviously, you and Mum had your own share of interesting childhood memories with your own respective parents. And those experiences had their own lasting effects on you both, whether you are aware of them or not. These things all have a trickle-down effect from generation to generation, and things like pain and trauma can also be passed down through the years. And your parents had their own fair share of pain and trauma too. So he's now blaming his grandparents. It's like, oh, this is a generational trauma thing. I turned out like this because of generational trauma. It's not my fault. I have no idea where that accent came from or what it was meant to be. I apologise. That seems to be the way of life for many people. Some have it worse than others. But as to what effect any of this has in regards to my current situation, I can't really say. I don't know for certain. And I'm not a licensed psychologist. But there's plenty of research and literature on these subjects available to anyone with access to a search engine and the desire to learn more about it. I don't know if that is the answer you are looking for, and obviously this is all from my own perspective, point of view, which might be much different from yours or Mum's. As I said, I don't fully lay the blame on either of you. Oh my gosh. So he is actually putting some blame on them. Because I made my own share of mistakes and had my own problems, which you both did your best to deal with. Oh my god, yes, they did. Not in the right way. And I know I gave you both plenty of grief along the way too, especially after my auto accident and the brain injury. Oh, get over it, dude. If this brain injury was anything lasting, there would be ongoing medical records from that time. But there is no record of anything. You're just going back to something that happened 30 years ago with no interim records and claiming this is why I did it. Now I'd like to talk about more pleasant things if that's okay. I'm already feeling pretty depressed without going over the details of my life. How are the puppies doing and how are things going at work? Any news? Did you have a good birthday or eat anything special for it? So that's actually the halfway mark with these emails. So I'm going to finish this video here so that you guys can see this, and then I'll give myself a break and start working on the second one. Looking at the time, I may get the second one out today also. We'll see. I must admit I am hoping to get through these because there are also other things that I want to cover in subsequent videos. So I would like to try and push on and try and catch up with my ever-growing list of videos that I need to be working on. Now, because these emails are in the same document as the real estate stuff, which does actually contain the address of Chris and Deb, I won't be releasing them just yet onto Patreon. I will try and put them into a separate document of their own, and with the real estate stuff I will either be not releasing it, or if I can manage to alter the documents so that I'm redacting things, then I will put them out as a separate document also that will be happening in the near future. Now, in terms of Patreon, I'm very much aware that YouTube currently isn't notifying people of my videos coming out, and that people are missing out on my videos because of that. So if you want to be kept up to date and know when my videos are being released, I'm going to start making posts on Patreon when I release videos so that you know that they're there. That said, it is extremely rare for me to go a day without releasing a video. So if you haven't seen a video from me and you're wondering if you've missed one, then you can always hop onto my page, my homepage, click on videos and see if there's anything new that has been released. There is so much that I want to cover right now that it is quite possible that I will be releasing 2 or 3 videos a day for a little while, perhaps. It's probably also worthwhile just checking that you are still subscribed, because I know that YouTube does drop people out from subscriptions occasionally. So if you are not getting notifications, you may want to check that side of it. So on that note, I'm going to bring it to a close here. So thank you for listening. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, and also please hit the like button. Right now, like I said, my videos aren't necessarily getting out there and seen at the moment, so you can help me to get them seen by hitting the like button. That makes YouTube happy. It makes them more likely to recommend my videos to other viewers. And of course, please leave a comment below, because YouTube also likes that and it helps get them into the algorithm that way too. So thank you, and I will catch you in the next one.